This conference will now be recorded.
Good evening. The time being 6 o'clock, I will call to order the Tuesday, February 25th, 2025 Tilton Planning Board meeting. First on our agenda is, I'll let the board show that we do have a quorum. Filling in for ex officio Dawson is alternate ex officio Scanlon. Is that how that would be going? Yeah. Also present is Tom Damon, Nathan Langione, and Eric Pyra. Jane Alden and Christine Dembitsky are absent. First on our agenda is discussion of 2025 proposed amendments in the future, 2026 amendment construction.
Right. So if I could,
Sure.
The proposed amendments that were considered finalized after our last meeting, they have gone and they've been printed for the ballot. After that last meeting, that was your last opportunity to be able to make any updates to the warrant articles that go to the ballots for the public to vote on them. Going forward, we did have a couple of things that came to mention, and I just added an email from a citizen, Kathy Mitchell, that explained she wanted to review a few things. We we are not able to make the corrections that she's asking for this year. It has to wait a full year before we're able to have another ballot for amendments, for zoning amendments, unless it was something that was urgent, and had to be able to have a special meeting, it has to go through the courts actually, to be able to have a special meeting for a ballot item. So certainly some of those items were not that important. They're important, but they're not that important. But thank you, Kathy, for bringing those to our attention. The second part of that is future amendments. And that is, I'd like the board's input on how you think that you want to try to orchestrate the upcoming year amendments. I know that I felt under a lot of pressure for us to be able to put things together in a short amount of time for the ones that we put out for the 2025 ballot. Suggestions? I mean, anything, throw it out there, because something that I think will make it easier for all of us in the upcoming year.
Just Scanlon.
I think it's never too early to start, and to just start a list, and you could even put on the wall in your room, so far, this is where this one is at, and put that. And then when it comes time in, January, you can fine tune it and see what else. And you might have a huge list, and that way they won't get, oh yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah. It's easy to put off. I can understand that, it's like, okay, we've had a long meeting and, that maybe that isn't the right time. We have it on the agenda, but it isn't the right day to be able to do it. But we have a night maybe when we have a very quick agenda and something can come up and we can take an extra 40 minutes or something to be able to finish it off and put it to bed. And then we can put it aside. It already gets drafted. We can actually, just move it forward at the next meeting, the following meeting, so that everybody's in consensus with the wording and everything else too. So, Nate?
Yeah, so I think it might be helpful to set SMART goals, specific,
goals.
measurable,
Yes,
achievable.
Thank you.
Yeah. But essentially, each month, starting after town meeting, leading up until the deadline for submissions, we should have different goals. So maybe the first month after town meeting is, okay, what are the high level topics that we want to address, and then maybe the following month we narrow that down, maybe 3 months out from when we would typically be starting this process, we're working on actual specific language of the bills, of the changes for the warrant article. So that way, ideally we'd have, final versions by the first, posting date that we've all reviewed, and, maybe we can get, feedback from, other groups within, the town, employees that are not on the planning board.
No, great. Perfect. I think that's a good suggestion. Anybody else?
Mr. Damon?
Thank you. Two questions. One of them is this letter from citizen Mitchell.
Yes.
Now, can this correction be made at the town meeting? They can't?
It cannot.
Okay.
It cannot.
The other thing too is we have been talking in the past about the land use permit fees. And I think that's an ongoing issue that we have to set because some of the fees I agree with and some of the fees I don't agree with. And one of the things that was in the discussion is to give it a percentage of the total cost of the job, so to speak. So if it was a garage, it would be a percentage of the total cost of the garage, or a building or something like that, or somebody wants to put in a driveway. It would be like, yeah, and that's up for debate. That's up for the kicking this around. Whatever the other towns submit, charge for fees. And of course, we did discuss about somebody's a building permit expiring and how much we're going to charge to renew that permit. I don't know if that's fixed in the fee schedule or not, but we do have these fees that Catherine Dawson had discussed about, and what I had discussed about in I think 2 previous meetings. And I'd like to have that continue on to see if we can get a relatively comprehensive and fair fee structure. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Some of the items that you mentioned are not, sorry. Some of the items you mentioned aren't relevant to the topic of the warrant items, but yes,
Right.
they are things that are included in tonight's agenda.
Okay.
Thank you.
One of, sorry, brain just froze up. One idea, or an idea that I had, was along the, kind of what Mr. Scanlon said, but where, the big pads of paper, we just have a brainstorming session on what the topics should be. And then every meeting, maybe we come up with a top 10. And then every meeting we try to, or once a month, because that'll get, 10, give us roughly the time that we need, and narrow it down to, the top ones, and put that, look at that, kind of get your guidance in a little bit, because you're the ones that deal with it every day. We deal with it twice a month. You deal with it on a daily basis, where someone's do that, but just have a brainstorming session. We leave that piece of paper hanging up on you can take down your Christmas decoration back there and hang it over that. It says, "Let it snow." It's leprechauns and daisies and tulips. So
No leprechauns in that office,
okay,
please.
sorry.
Mm-mm.
I'll get you one.
I guess I'm not allowed in there.
Nope.
So just something along that line, just that, that it's a goal, and then we try to, we could have 20 things that we start off with, but then we dive into it a little bit and come back and visit the next meeting. We go, oh, no, not that one. Right.
I think along like a similar vein, maybe try and find a way that, once each quarter we have a meeting that is, specifically for working on these issues, as, just like a, working session versus dealing with actual, land use cases. And I think that, once a quarter gives us the flexibility to, find somewhere within 6 meetings where we can dedicate, an entire or most of a session to this kind of stuff.
The other thing I'd like to add on that one is, another item I'd like to add on to that is, the planning board has to have 2 scheduled meetings per month. One is mandatory, and the other one can be canceled. One can be canceled, but I think we've gotten into the habit, if we don't have a case, oh, that's great, we have the night off. I think those nights, that's when we have to capitalize on that time and say, hey, that's great, we don't have any cases. And we can now, put our head down and maybe really put a dent in 3 items that maybe aren't monumental, but are one big one, or however we decide to do it. I just think we just need to change our strategy. I don't know what the answer is. I mean, that's up to the board on how you plan on handling it. But I do think that hurrying up at the last minute isn't the answer. Let me put it that way, because it just leaves us open for additional work to now try to either continually, well, they should be continually modified anyhow, but it gives us additional work to now to try to rectify maybe some of the small things that we would have caught if we had more time. Let me put it that way.
A lot of with my job, and I'm going around and meeting with the boards of selectmen on different towns, and sometimes we get deferred to the planning board. Ironically, a lot of these towns have their first meeting of the month is a work session, or a regular meeting, and the second meeting of the month is a workshop where they don't hear cases where do that. So maybe it's something that we need to consider doing.
That's something to consider. I think in a lot of small towns, they can get away with that. I happen to have been on a planning board with a town that didn't have as much activity as we do in Tilton. In some ways, that's a real benefit, and in other ways, it's a detriment, because then we have to say to the citizen, you have to wait a full month to come before a board. In planning, yes, a lot of the bigger projects come in the winter months, but a lot of the homeowners, they come up, they want to realize they need a new deck this year because we got a foot of snow last year, so it's time to replace the deck. Well, they look at the calendar, they come down, and then we tell them, oh, well, we can get you on the August calendar because July is gone by, and August is August we only have one meeting and it's on the 25th. Well, the summer's over for them. So we sort of want to try to accommodate both groups of people. We have a lot of seasonal people and we have a lot of year-round people. If we do that, I think probably the way we've done the meetings, which is we address their issues at every meeting as they come in and we put them on the next agenda. Or, if you want to go to that other, we can. But it's just something that it's a balancing act. I guess that's all I have, want to mention to you. How you decide to proceed is up to the board.
I think maybe that's something we could do on like a month-to-month basis in a sense. So,
Yep.
Because if we don't have applications that are within the time frame of a certain meeting, or if we only have one application, then we could deal with that and spend hopefully the bulk of the meeting doing yearly planning and updating stuff that doesn't require town meeting votes. Maybe just reviewing newer documentation from other towns, similar to how we took a look at like Laconia's short-term rental legislation, and so that way we can steal other people's work and provide feedback, and then hopefully it's a fast way to get up-to-date documentation for some of our older docs.
Absolutely.
Eric.
John?
The other thing is to include like zoning, because what I've noticed is sometimes there's other departments or boards that all of a sudden at the end of the year, they say, hey, you need to do this. So if you try maybe quarterly, send a word out to like the housing standards or anything that involves that they might be making suggestions to come forward and say, hey, can you look at this or something? Yeah. I don't know, fire or water, sewer.
Yeah.
It
primarily is the zoning board. It presents their concerns on interpreting the ordinances to the planning board. That's generally should be the main feed into it. I do agree with you. Something like Kathy's email certainly was nice to see.
Yeah.
more work, but nice to see.
Like, oh man, too bad it wasn't a week
So-
earlier. And
I'm not sure if that the right protocol would be for them, like fire or sewer or any of those to channel it right in. But certainly, I mean, it's one town. I mean, if send an email, it might be a reason why it can be addressed or can't be addressessed. But let's face it, they're the ones that know what they need, what
we
they
might spot something.
absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, I think
Police
that's
department, and, you know.
on and on. It's,
Is it-
it's everybody, one town, whether you're a citizen or a department. They all need to be contributing. And, so yeah, no, that's a good suggestion. I'm not sure it is like, I'm not sure we want to send something out to them every quarter, but they can certainly channel it into us when they see something that needs addressing.
Or at least a couple months ahead of
Yeah.
time.
Is
Yeah.
there a,
We're doing this now, so
Yeah.
step forward
Yeah,
and
no,
speak
it's,
up. Yeah.
like I say, we all have the same goal, It's not like a citizen isn't any different than a department. They have a goal, they want to see something be right.
Mm.
And, that's the department of the planning board and, everybody contributing into the whole process.
there's I don't know. I just would look through the calendar, but if you look about every couple of months, like a once a quarter type thing, there's a fifth Tuesday in the month, and maybe make that a workshop if everyone was available. I know that's a big ask for a lot of, to ask people to come in. But the other side, is it legal to have a joint meeting between the zoning board and the planning board
You can't,
for having a workshop and kind of just a brainstorming session? For that, and I don't know if it's allowed. I don't know if it's
Yeah,
allowed.
we
so I
did
don't
that
know.
a couple years ago.
Yeah.
About 3 years ago.
Yeah, we did.
right.
And using your crystal magic 8 ball, how's it shaping up? Is it shaping up to be a busy year for us, or is it settling down, or is it
It is not settling down.
okay? I didn't think that was good. I thought that would be your answer, but I thought I'd ask anyways.
More complex too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure. But I just didn't know if it was settling down.
So I like John's idea. I'm not sure whether or not we need like a formalized quarterly feedback, with specific date deadlines or anything like that. But I do think it would be good to, put the word out that we are continually looking for feedback throughout the year. And, so if the, zoning board has an issue in, May, there's, no reason to, wait on bringing it to us later in the year.
Oh, no, all good suggestions.
Maybe we can look at April if they have a slow month, and maybe we can have a joint meeting.
I think I keep it front of mind as the board, keep it front of mind. When you want to bring it up, then you say, hey, maybe next month. We talked briefly about April. Let's see what we can do for that month. Right now, April is already building because we have 2 cases that are continued to April. One on April 8th.
Yep.
Oh, wait a minute, excuse me. April 8th is the planning board, yes.
Yep.
The other one is zoning boards. Sorry. I thank you all for thinking on short notice some of those ideas because I think they're all very good. But the thing is really to just keep it all front of mind. Right now it's front of mind, so it's all good ideas. But everybody gets busy,
We're
and
not
I
gonna
get
think
it.
about it in August.
Believe me, but we have to just continually try to push it to the front of our mind. That's all.
Not going to think about it in August because we'll all be like, "Oh my gosh, the summer's over. We haven't done anything." And
We haven't done anything
we're not gonna be-
exactly, and it becomes very difficult.
well, just on a personal level, never mind this.
Yeah, that
We're
too,
just
yeah.
going to be like,
Yep.
"Oh."
All right. Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Anybody else? Thank you. Okay, the voice in the back said she has one more thing, just because I know the recording did not pick that up.
So I guess just in regards to the Amendment 2 and 3 questions. We don't have in our regulations a definition of potable water. Is there a state definition that, supersedes the town, or like, if we don't define something in the regulations, is there, some state default, in terms of like, if we don't have roads, specified, or,
No, there
what a
is.
traffic cone is?
Let me say, I don't think there is something specified. I think the goal is always to try to make it, as, you'll notice at the beginning of each one, I did try to put something simple, simply stated, so to speak, of what the warrant article is about. Then you read into the warrant article, see what it was before and how we're changing it. But what we can do is, the language on that first little paragraph should always be very simple so that really anybody that's reading it can understand what's going on. Now, my era, I thought potable was a word most people knew, and maybe most do. But if there's even a small amount of concern of somebody not knowing what it is, that's not right. We should have something that's very, very clear. That being said, I think Kathy did offer the suggestion that maybe we could put a small thing next to our display before they enter the voting thing when we post what the warrant articles are, just something definition of potable, like maybe a little call out of some sort.
But does that, but would that indicate that we have a definition when we don't? So it may create
this is not
confusion.
going to be on the ballot. It's just going to be we'll figure out how to do it exactly. I'm not sure. Maybe something I have to look into, but something so that it's a call out so that we're sure that everybody can understand what the word potable means, or at least 98% instead of maybe only 50%. That's all. I mean, we want to make sure people understand the words that they're reading. But I didn't think it was that powerful a word, and shame on me, I guess.
So I think the issue with 10.5.1 is resolved. Well, so the first 10.5.1 is residential structures shall be equipped with potable water. 10.5.2 is all dwelling units and commercial, public, or industrial buildings shall be connected to a potable water system, either municipal or private, and a sewage disposal system. So I think the lack of the word system in 10.5.1 is clarified in 10.5.2, because you could argue, oh, well, we've got bottled water for 10.5.1, but you're still not meeting the 10.5.2 requirements. So
Yeah. Well, running potable water. Yeah.
Well, I'll just take it a step further based on what Nate just said. And the example given in her email is, okay, those big tubs that like maple syrup producers use, and I don't know, they hold what, 200 gallons or 250 gallons. If I fill one of those up, it's potable.
Or
it's
if,
a
somebody
system.
has
It's-
polluted water system and they have to get a tank and it's done. We'll have to figure that out.
I think these are,
Water sits in my pipes, but it's potable. It's potable in there. I mean, unless I sneak over to John's house in the middle of the night and put a dead fish in there, then it's maybe not so potable. But because I caught a fish on the way home and I didn't have a place to
Depends on the kind of fish.
goldfish.
Yeah. Oh, I'll pass. No, thank you.
Well, I'm gonna go back to those college days. So
Yeah,
good point.
Yeah, because I guess you could get into the weeds in terms of like, oh, well, what is the definition of a system? Like, a well is a system, a septic system is a system, but is a rain catchment
Or cistern,
system,
a cistern or,
yeah. What if you have what if you have a pit that, you get,
What if I
Yeah.
collect all the rainwater off my
vacuumed out
roof
Yeah.
and put it into a big cistern,
Yeah.
a 5,000 gallon cistern in my house? I mean, in my house, that's one shower with one of my kids, but, oh, yeah.
It's crazy. My daughter has a cistern where she lives. She lives in St. Croix in the Virgin Islands. They have no public system. So it's a cistern. And then it goes through a series of filters so that she can drink it. Just to relate a simple story, I had a water problem this morning, and it's going to be quite costly to fix it. But it's repaired now, but it was put in when the house was built. So that's 30 years ago. It's about time for it to have some major issue with it. And you don't really know what you got until you lose your water because, and especially if you have health issues, you need to have that stuff. But I know people that have commercial like this here with the 5-gallon systems I mean, they just do it because they want to. And my other daughter lives in Massachusetts, and I said to her, get a $20. The taste of the water was terrible because it's over chlorinated. And I said, get a $20 filter, put it up where it comes into the house, and you change it every 3 months. Cost $9 every 3 months. And you just take that filter and throw it away and get a new one, put it in there, shut the water off, of course. And she said, wow, what a difference the water's, I can actually drink tap water. But they were buying water. They were spending copious amounts of money to buy water and saved her quite a bit of money. But the idea is that potable water means a lot of things to different people. And that's the thing that you have to make known as drink. I have a lot of manganese in the water, but the water softener takes the manganese out of the water. So there's all these things that you have to do, especially if you have health issues. So I think this is a good thing that we're discussing this, but we get to the point where now we get systems and we have to define systems. Then we have to define this. Then we have to define that. And the first thing you know, we have Webster's dictionary full of things that just define the word the. Yeah. So you're getting into that. Yeah, where you have a volume of stuff, but actually the content is this big. Potable water is potable water. If the public doesn't know what the word is, then we inform them. But we don't keep informing them all the time. We don't say, okay, this is crazy, because they can really, really, really relate to this. Anybody that's our age or older knows what potable water means, especially if you've been in the service of the United States of America. So anyway, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I mean, maybe this could be, the ambiguity could be cleared up by, saying, well, or
We can't say it this year. We have to wait till next.
yeah. But
Now, does that have to be on there for a full year?
I think
So-
it's a full, yeah.
This fall when we start? Yeah.
Yeah.
So we can put it on the ballot in 2026. Okay. Well, it just says, because someone said a year, so I wasn't sure if it means it had to be in effect for a year or, okay.
But we can start working on it tomorrow if we wanted to. And inch away at it all year long. And so we have a final product, say in September or October, so that if something comes up in November, we still have a little time to fit something in.
yeah.
All right.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Moving along to our other business, approval of minutes. I believe we've approved the minutes of November.
12th, you did. Yeah.
So we'll do the minutes of January 28th. I almost said July. January 28th. Did everyone receive a copy of them?
Mm-hmm.
Have a chance
Yes.
to review them? Mhm. Bless you. Bless you again.
Bless you. Nobody else will.
We'll have a chance to review.
So I wasn't present, so obviously I'm not going to vote on it, but I did notice there's like 3 of the 6 people aren't here that are on there. I don't know if you want to table it or just they could offer it for reconsideration at the next meeting if they don't agree.
Since because this could be another month before we meet.
Yeah.
I think if we approve them, if anybody has any changes, we can make a change after that, after they're posted. That's my own. Anyone else have any thoughts on that?
Unless it's an official decision that somebody,
Anybody have any thoughts on that? Where half the people that were at that meeting are not here today? Who make any changes they may have?
John's right, you can vote to reconsider.
I guess I like the reconsider option.
So what, push it off for,
No,
Yeah, we
make a
could-
motion to accept, and then if they're not unhappy with something,
Yeah, then they
vote
can
to
make it-
reconsider.
okay.
you can just
Correct.
note it that,
okay.
that it could be up for reconsideration as
Yep.
3 of the 6 aren't here.
There wasn't one yet.
Not one yet.
I would like to make a motion to approve the minutes from the Tuesday, January 28th, 2025 Planning Board meeting as written.
There a motion, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Damon. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Abstain.
One abstention. Opposed? Motion passes. I did have a question while reading, it gave a refresher back to Miss Mitchell's email. Huh?
Drinkable?
Nope. My favorite acronym to say in these meetings, the NHWSPCC,
Now
doesn't
you have to
exist,
Doesn't exist.
but we refer to it in the amendment. And it was missed in 2009 when that definition was updated.
Correct.
Do we have to keep it, or can you make a change to call it NHDES?
Next year.
Next
All
year.
right, I don't want to have to say that gosh darn acronym again. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. All right, Pat, did you have something? You're holding something
I-
colorful in your hand.
I do.
Need a
I
hand?
just want to make you aware. We have an upcoming, I'm going to stand here. We have a very large upcoming project up on Business Park Drive, the warehouse. It takes up 4 lots
Wow.
and a 5th lot over here for parking of vans. It's a warehouse, moving distribution center. There are wetlands involved. I really don't want to go into the nitty-gritties of the
Mhm.
warehouse or what's going on with it, because they are coming to you. But because they are coming to you, it's a very large project, and usually very large projects of this type, we get a third-party review person involved, company involved, Keach and Nostrum. And so, such as the inn at
Whatever.
Preserve.
Yeah, the
It's
preserve.
called
Something else.
several, it's gone through 4 different names so
Place
far.
on the lake.
And very large projects, we get them in, they have to bond and all that kind of stuff. So I am coming to the board to ask that when they do come, that we get them involved, because it's an extensive project. There's a lot of moving parts to it, including DES and moving the town portion of the driveway down here. A lot of moving parts to it. So I just want you to know that I will be asking for that third-party review. So they're coming in here.
When they come to the board, will they be bringing the final plan, I mean, an approved plan, or is it just a conceptual? Will they
They will be coming in
Site plan.
with you to a site plan
official
review,
site plan,
official site plan review.
all stamped?
No,
and
they
approved?
may come in with a conceptual first.
I'm not sure how far along
they've-
they are. I know
they've
they've
been,
done the version.
They came into the zoning with 4 variances. They got approved on all 4 variances. They are coming back to the zoning on another lighting variance and an excavation possibly. So this is how big the project is. So it's been on the move for a long, long time. We don't have a name yet other than SPA Properties. We're assuming it's something like an Amazon, but we don't know. So it is a huge project.
Sounds like a wise idea.
Yep. So as soon as we can get Keach and Nostrum involved in it, the better off we are. in March. That's what I'll be asking for.
Okay,
All right?
thanks for the heads up.
Thank you.
Anything else?
We've got lots of new projects coming in.
but they all Well, until they're here, then it doesn't exist. To me. It may to you, but not to me. Keeps you busy. It's called job security. If there are no projects. All right. Anyone have anything else to come officially before this board? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion is second, is non-debatable. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. We are adjourned at 6:41 p.m.